in startup ecosystem, the core problem is why you started in the first place is 5-10%, बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर बोल रहा हूँ मैं कि यही सक्सेस रेट है जो दिख रहा है, ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर है. वो 90% की जो स्टोरी लाइन है, जो रिफ्लेक्शन है, जो रेजिलियंस है, जो ग्रिट है, वो स्टोरी लाइन बन के बाहर नहीं आती. जो बिकॉज देयर इज़ इनफ स्टोरी लाइन टू बी टोल्ड फॉर पीपल टू सी what is the whole storyline looking like. It's not a overnight success, it takes time.
So how do you differ between a business dhanda and a startup?
But people don't want to take risk, so they will want spoon feeding process. This is input, this is output, but don't question the status quo. It will throw your whole life in front of you. In fact, the whole thing that's coming is you deserve to get rejected, you deserve to get rejected.
So it's like hitting rock bottom.
Startup ecosystem is going to grow in India because the policy was not there till then. When paisa came into the company, there was dispute.
Does that sort of a mindset?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That was my
your benchmarks go higher, even professionally, right? Your bhook or hunger grows, right? Don't go for valuation, go for value creation.
Hello and welcome to the pilot episode of Startup Movers presents the FuF Nights. FuF means Founders Unfiltered. So like today we have here the senior consultant of Startup Movers, Mr. Money in the Bank, Sambhav Mehrotra. Hi Sambhav.
Hello.
क्या आपने सोचा था एक दिन इतनी मेहनत करने के बाद आप अपना ही खुद का एक पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड कर रहे होगे?
सोचा तो नहीं था, बट बहुत कुछ ऐसा हो जाता है जो सोचा नहीं होता, तो ये भी उसमें से एक ही है.
बिल्कुल, मेरा भी काफ़ी टाइम से एक सपना था कि हाँ एक पॉडकास्ट होस्ट करूँ, एक पॉडकास्ट होना चाहिए जिसमें खुल के बातें हों. ये तो मेरा सपना था, बट बहुत फाउंडर्स होते हैं जिनके सपने होते हैं स्टार्टअप को लेके, वेंचर को लेके आगे बढ़ाने की, और बहुत लोगों के वो सपने साकार भी होते हैं और कईयों के टूटते भी हैं. तो
बस स्टार्टअप मूवर में हम वही कोशिश करते हैं कि दूसरों के सपने साकार कर रहे हैं और हम उसका हिस्सा बन सकें.
फ्रॉम स्टार्ट टू स्केल. नाइस. सो since you are a chartered accountant, more than 16 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
I am in 17th year, yes.
17th year. No. Senior, respect. आपने तो सूरज चढ़ते और ढलते हर मुकाम पे फाउंडर्स को देखा है, किस परिश्रम से वो गुजरते हैं. You yourself are a founder for startups. You are an angel investor. You have seen it all, been through all. With this series, we hope to bring out more insights of people not knowing. Usually क्या होता है, लोग सिर्फ शार्क टैंक और पब्लिक जनरल परसेप्शन यही है कि जो शार्क टैंक में आ गया या जिनको जानते हैं उसके आगे पीछे का ही स्टार्टअप्स के बारे में पता होता है और फाउंडर्स के बारे में पता होता है. लेकिन जैसा कि आप कहते हैं हर बारी कि इट इज़ जस्ट द टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग, राइट? सो डू यू फील लाइक कि हम काफ़ी सारे स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स को यहाँ पे ला के अपने स्टेज पे उनको प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं, सो दैट आर व्यूअर्स, आर ऑडियंस गेट अ बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ व्हाट एन एंटायर जर्नी ऑफ अ फाउंडर इज़?
Well, absolutely. I think tipping point या turning point Indian startup ecosystem के लिए 2009 था शायद, Flipkart.
Okay.
Which is where the whole buzz started. इतना बड़ा exit.
अच्छा.
ऐसा नहीं है कि उससे पहले startup ecosystem इंडिया में था नहीं, right?
Right.
बस उसके बाद डेवलप होनी शुरू हुई और 16 में फॉर्मली एक स्टार्टअप इंडिया पॉलिसी आई थी. मुझे पर्सनली लगता है वो एक टिपिंग पॉइंट था, स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट था, या एक रिफ्लेक्शन पॉइंट था, पिवट पॉइंट था. और एक पिवट पॉइंट और था 2008, जो रिसेशन आया, उसमें जो रिवर्स माइग्रेशन हुआ, दैट वाज आल्सो अ टर्निंग पॉइंट वेयर एन इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ वेस्ट आल्सो केम इन. ऐसा नहीं है, लाइक आई सेड, इनोवेशंस इंडिया में पहले भी थे. ऑफ कोर्स रिसर्च साइड पे माना जाता है कि इंडिया में रिसर्च थोड़ा लेट होती है, बट आई थिंक इतना कुछ देखने के बाद ऐसा भी नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ लाइमलाइट में नहीं है रिसर्च में उतना फंडिंग नहीं है, लेकिन रिसर्च है, ब्रेन्स हैं हमारे यहाँ. अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो ब्रेन्स जाते ही बाहर इसलिए क्योंकि बाहर रिसर्च की वैल्यू ज़्यादा है. बट ओवर अ पीरियड आई हैव सीन कि इंडिया में रिसर्च थी लेकिन लाइमलाइट में नहीं थी. वो धीरे धीरे और लाइमलाइट में आई 2008 के बाद. स्पेशली जब मेरा अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस वही रहा कि मैंने 2008 के बाद आई हैव सीन रिवर्स माइग्रेशन हैपनिंग. पीपल लॉस्ट देयर जॉब्स, दे वर super brains of the human, mankind. Yet we know what 2008 had an impact, not just US but globally.
Right.
इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट फॉर मी वॉज एकेडमिक्स इज़ नॉट अ क्राइटेरिया ऑफ सक्सेस इन दिस इको सिस्टम. सो वो मेरा फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस जो मुझे लगा कि हाँ रिवर्स माइग्रेशन हुआ, दे वुड बी वेरी बिग developments that will happen because these are folks who are coming from an experienced background.
Right.
I realized over a period of time that academics is not the only criteria for success, especially in this ecosystem. Plus, वेस्टर्न इन्फ्लुएंस या वेस्टर्न रिफ्लेक्शन, इंडियन रिफ्लेक्शन, सब यही बोलते हैं कि 100 में से 5-10%, बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर बोल रहा हूँ मैं, कि यही सक्सेस रेट है जो दिख रहा है, ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर है. वो 90% की जो स्टोरी लाइन है, जो रिफ्लेक्शन है, जो रिजिलियंस है, जो ग्रिट है, वो स्टोरी लाइन बन के बाहर नहीं आती, जो दूसरों के लिए एक लर्निंग लेसन हो सकती है कि भाई वही सेम मिस्टेक दोबारा मत करो. तो हम वो एक साइकिल पूरी देख चुके 2009 से अब शायद 2025 तक. अगर हम इंडियन स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम की एक वो साइकिल देखें, एक बज़ आया, पॉलिसी आई, पैसा आया, IPOs आए, IPOs बेकार हुए, दोबारा IPOs नहीं आ पाए, और उसके बाद फिर से एक लिक्विडिटी क्रंच आया, और अब दोबारा हम देख रहे हैं कि वो कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल, अर्ली स्टेज राउंड तो हो रहे थे, बट शायद लेट स्टेज राउंड भी दोबारा हो सके. तो why now? Why I think the FuF nights, why founders on this chair? Because there is enough storyline to be told for people to see what is the whole storyline looking like. It's not a overnight success. It takes time. Of course, there are stories to say overnight success हो चुका, but then there are stories of resilience. 10 साल 15 साल लोगों ने business को दिए हैं, and then actually the value creation has happened. Valuation तो एक साल में हो जाता है. Value creation takes its own sweet time. So वो बहुत स्टोरीज अनफोल्ड हो चुकी हैं. आई थिंक इट वुड बी जस्टिस टू टेक दो स्टोरीज आउट नाउ एंड हैव दैट इकोसिस्टम दैट्स गेटिंग इंस्पायर्ड टू नो द राइट स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ हाउ लॉन्ग इट टेक्स, व्हाट इट टेक्स, एंड व्हाट कैन गो रॉन्ग, व्हाट विल गो राइट इन दिस होल स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम जर्नी.
सो जस्ट इन कंटेक्स्ट टू व्हाट यू जस्ट सेड, पहले एक टाइम पे लोग बोलते थे कि हम मैं धंधा स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ, मैं बिज़नेस स्टार्ट करने जा रहा हूँ, या मैं अपना फैमिली बिजनेस ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ, या अपने धंधे में लगना है, जो भी है. वर्सेस एक ट्रांजिशन हमने फेस देखा वेयर पीपल केम अप फ्रंट एंड सेड ओके आई एम अ फाउंडर ऑफ अ स्टार्टअप. बेसिकली द वर्ड स्टार्टअप जो एक कल्चर शिफ्ट देखा, अल्टीमेटली अंडरलाइंग सेंस में अगर आप देखो तो वो धंधा और बिजनेस ही है, राइट? So how do you differ between a business धंधा and a startup, like from a mindset of the person or of the entrepreneur who's running it?
बहुत मस्त क्वेश्चन है यार. मतलब ये इट इज़ समरी ऑफ दिस इकोसिस्टम, राइट? मैंने 15 साल स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम में प्रैक्टिस करने के बाद अपना बायस देखा कि बिजनेस तो ट्रेडिशनल साइड पे बन रहा है. ऑफ कोर्स आई वुड नॉट से कि स्टार्टअप में बिजनेस, स्टार्टअप इज़ नॉट अ राइट बिजनेस सेक्शन, बट आई वुड से स्टार्टअप इज़ नॉट अ बिजनेस डेफिनेशन. Startup is a mindset. It could be plug and play anywhere in life, right? It's a high disruption, innovative disruption mindset, right? What do you call a startup? I mean, the best of the startups are GOs of this world. कोविड में आए, बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर रेज करे, पूरी टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री चेंज कर दी. बट इतनी जल्दी क्यों किया? क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स दे न्यू हाउ टू डू बिजनेस, राइट? But I think that would have been the best of the startup mindsets. Get the best of the VCs and PEs and big shots on the board. Be there in the market, capture the market as fast as possible. So, do you qualify Geo as a startup or not? So that's my question to you, right? How do you see Geo?
Industry disruptor.
Right. So, but I saw it as I mean, when they were raising funds during that COVID time, and then what a disruptive mindset. That's what the mindset is about. Right. Right thing at right time with the right opportunity, right? So I don't believe just starting up from scratch or just saying that I have started up a new business is a business. It's a mindset. Of course, majority of it would be people jumping into an entrepreneurial journey. But even existing business diversifying themselves on a disruptive side, doing something different, very high-paced growth, I don't qualify it as a startup. I believe it's just a mindset rather than just calling it a business.
Right. So since this is our pilot episode, more or less this is going to be our friends and family round.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Like we'll be circulating this YouTube link to our friends and family. So going into that, where did it, did it strike to you to get into this ecosystem? Like what was your journey throughout? Because we coming from a traditional CA background, like from the articleship which we did and the practicing culture we worked under, at that in those days again वही वाली बात कि startup word ही शायद exist नहीं करता था, वही business धंधे वाली बात होती थी कि हाँ, और एक सीए के पास जाके लोग सिर्फ एक ऑडिट कराने से और आईटीआर फाइल कराने तक सीमित का काम कराते थे, whereas you have pioneered, you sort of been a pioneer, a revolution, created that revolution in the consulting business as such, wherein you are catering to startups day in day out with the understanding their mindset and explaining how the financial jargon works in their own language, right? But where did that trigger point come across in your life where you felt like कि बॉस ये स्पेस खाली है, जो कि दूर दूर तक शायद कोई सोच भी नहीं पा रहा था या देख भी नहीं पा रहा था कि ये हो सकता है?
It's a very interesting reflection which is just recent in one of the hirings that is going on. One of the sentences that is being used by the firm is freedom to work in a free mindset led environment. Right?
Okay.
I mean, the reflection there is you are not being spoon fed. And that is embedded in my mentorship also across articleship, qualification, post qualification, industry experience. That I have got the best of the mentors that have not spoon fed me and have mentored in a way where you are taking a risk, yet you know somebody is there if you go wrong. Right from, say, opting for a CA course where my inspiration was my father. I wanted to practice with him because of his work-life balance. Unfortunately, lost him while I was doing a CA. And then I got mentored during my articleship from Mr. late Krishna Kumar Mohindra ji, who was my father's principal. So old school, traditional.
Right.
Yet at that point of time, I realized maybe I'm not being mentored correctly. But over a period of time, when I reflect that period, I realized I could not have got a better mentor who's just let me out in the ecosystem, go there. It's not that a difficult job. Come back if you face a problem. But the opportunity is there. Because the other person trusted me for that opportunity. That kind of a mentorship I don't think exists, or it's very the availability of such mentorship is very, very little in this ecosystem.
Right. Very handful of people. Maybe
Yeah, because
are there.
people don't want to take risk. So they will
Right.
want spoon feeding, process, this is input, this is output, but don't question the status quo. Right. So when you have the ability to question the status quo, that is the best way to learn. And then again, that kind of an environment always had that questionable approach of questioning the status quo and then realizing whether this is the right thing or not. So like I said, once you've qualified, the whole moat was gone because my father was not there.
So you just mentioned that you saw the work-life balance he was having, and that's what sort of inspired you, and you wanted to join hands with him.
Correct.
And grow the practice. Which
And
you
of course,
found.
I do like number crunching and all.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So but the kind of work-life balance what he was having at that time, do you feel you are mirroring the same in this day and age, or?
I think what I've realized, work-life balance again is a mindset, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I think I'm doing it quite perfectly. I would say progressively, not perfectly. That even if, say, the working hours are extended, I love what I do. So I do find time for other things as well. So I don't have a craving in my mind that my work is not allowing me to do other things. I do have a recreational sports that keeps on changing.
Right.
Possibly I think both of us together have done such things which people now will never think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going and checking railway fan club, watching stand-up comedy, doing stand-up comedy. I think if you can have that kind of a lifestyle with such a stressful, I would not say stressful, but a framework that demands decision making from you every now and then. So I think that defined work-life balance. In his era, that was different. In our era, that is different. But I think that mindset is something that we have taken up.
Right.
So yeah, to continue that story, I think why startups?
Yeah.
So then started the exploration of what next, because the whole moat was gone.
Right.
Traditional practice was something I was not getting inclined to.
Okay.
And then there was this, I would not call it a grudge, but not willing to do a job kind of a atmosphere, because like I said, the training has been in a way to challenge the status quo. So go out there, explore, build, co-build or whatever. And then just exploration started. I also tried an Air Force exam.
Okay.
I was the only CA. The 5 days have changed my life. And I recommend all youngsters should be sent for that 5-day training, even if they are not selected. Because 80% will be sent back on first day, maybe more than 80%. And even if you spend 5 days assuming you will be selected, 50 you might be asked to go out. Like in my case, I was the only CA, yet I was not selected in that batch. So then it was a reflection, because that SSB training reflected, which was the trigger point, that the whole SSB training gave a reflection at the end of the 5 day. Oh, I didn't know myself. So they were asking and they were looking for me, but I was not sitting across the table. It was somebody else who was trained to speak what was to be spoken in front of the officer.
Okay.
So then it started a whirlpool inside that get to know yourself.
So it was this rejection from the Air Force SSB exam which you gave. Was that sort of the first setback you have had academically all throughout?
No, I think I would say yes, because schooling was perfect.
CA again, I think
CA
you
was the
cleared
first
in
attempt.
Yeah.
So of course, after that there was this IFRS thing that I tried, but again I never had the interest
But
on
then
it.
this was way after your SSB?
No,
Okay, this was prior to
because I qualified in 9, I tried
Okay.
IFRS around 10, just
Okay.
after qualification, because that was the bus that time.
Okay.
I also tried my hands on SAP, but these were not two fields where I would say I failed, but I didn't find my ikigai in those. So I
Right.
started off those, took a little experience, and then never did the last mile.
Right. So, but the Air Force SSB was something which you were.
Yeah, I
very-
would have been very inclined to
So
join.
you were all in, like.
I would have medically come out if I would have crossed the line. That's a separate story.
Right.
But if I would have, say, been medically fit, I would have crossed the line and I would have joined for sure.
So that was like a setback to you at an early stage of
Correct.
your career, let's say.
Because the
from that
setback was not, like I said, the setback was not joining the Air Force. The setback was the last round where two psychologists are taking your interview. And when you, if at all you reflect and you have an intellectual and a conscious mind to reflect, it will throw your whole life in front of you, right? And those 7 days after I came back was like the full reflection, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, but it was more like a hindsight thing which you said, but probably at that, in the heat of the moment, you would be thinking, यार ये कैसे हो सकता है मेरे साथ? मैं इकलौता सी.
That was the first day.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that was the first
yeah.
day I was sent back. I know for a fact there was no thought in my mind. There was never traveled in, for a very long time, I never traveled in a public transport.
Okay.
Interstate public bus, you know, and you have a storyline around that 40
संतरे की
seater,
गोली खाई थी.
40 seater bus with 100 folks inside,
Oh.
right? And you're sitting in front with few people not having deodorants, and everything is going in your mind, and yet there is that the core of what Indian population is about is also going on, that this is the opportunity that you lost. In that hindsight, on first day when you're coming back, the whole thing that's coming is you deserve to get rejected. You deserve to get rejected because you don't know why you got rejected. So you have to give a reason to it, right? But there is no reason because the psychologists have not given you an answer of why they rejected you.
Right.
So you have to explore yourself what went wrong. Because other rounds were going brilliantly. That was one round that I could not reflect what the hell just happened. After a day, I realized, let's just sit back and see what went wrong. And then the trigger point was you don't know yourself. So you have to get to know yourself and be true to yourself because you've not given your true self to them and they never read you. You couldn't read yourself, how will other person read you?
So I
Then,
think there
yeah.
was a sense of acceptance to the fact that
Absolutely.
what went wrong.
Absolutely.
And that is what the key is probably to come out of such a setback or a failure wherein
Yeah.
people sort of don't take that in acceptance like they screwed up. Or
Again, I'll give a mentorship example there.
Yeah.
Again, I was very lucky to go to that psychologist who trained me for an SSB. He was the person who he kind of drafted the policy around how the SSB was to be done. Now he was retired.
Right.
Mr. Dogra, he still teaches now, even now at this age. I called him up and this was the same sentence I told him. Sir, I was very happy that I came here. I was never expecting to get accepted. I knew I have shortcomings, but now since I am rejected, I don't know what went wrong. So he gave me a very good sentence. He said, no matter what has happened in 5 days, now whatever you will do in life will be straightforward and successful. So be rest assured your life is at peace.
So it's like hitting rock bottom and the only way is up.
Kind of, we can say yes.
Either
and
you
no
can
both.
continue walking
Right.
on that seabed
Right.
or you have to
Correct.
give yourself
Or
a push.
take a reflection, start going up, or just
Right.
be cursing yourself. Because I saw about few candidates who were giving their 5th or 6th SSBs. They were allowed to because general candidates are not.
Okay.
And it was like CA, right? Keep on giving attempts. So even there I saw people desperately trying to get there as an officer. They were super smart folks, yet getting rejected. And they also had the same problem. They don't know what's going wrong. And that vulnerable state is too bad. Because if you know what's wrong, at least you can go ahead and solve for it.
The course correction starts.
Correct. But if you don't know what's wrong, then you are always in the vicious circle, which happens in our curriculum also, right?
Absolutely.
You keep on giving attempts, but you think you know everything, yet you don't cross the line.
But somehow it is there in general across all, even startup founders.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a general universal rule which happens.
I would say brilliant connection on that front, because in startup ecosystem, the core problem is why you started in the first place is not known sometimes, right? What are you solving for? Is it actually a problem to be solved? Have you found the right solution? What is the value creation you are doing? What is the impact you are creating?
Right.
Many of those questions are not getting answered when people are starting up, right?
So do you feel founders at an early stage should have those things, pinpointed, or it's okay to, find those answers during the course
I would say
their...
never start up in a FOMO.
Okay.
Always start up when you feel you are solving a right set of problem statement.
So that should be day zero.
That should be day zero. Knowing the problem is day zero. I would say ki, this is the problem statement to be solved. Right? And then you go on whether you actually are capable of building an MVP around it, whether market will accept it or not. Should you go full circle to create it as a outbound product? Now start speaking to people, raise funds or bootstrap or whatever. But the first stage itself has many questions. So I've seen many folks starting up, opening private limiteds, yet not answered all questions.
Bhed chaal mein mat jao, basically.
Yeah, correct.
In short.
Correct.
Right. Well, nicely put across. Now, so you had a setback from your Air Force SSB. So post that, then what next?
So post SSB, then like I said, when I reflected, I started looking around of what is it that can work out. And apparently, like KitKat break happened. We again, a mentor brought us to a landscape of co-working in India back in 2013.
Okay.
When nobody knew co-working. There was this set of co-founders, school friends, thinking out of the box. Of course, co-working was a pivot. Their initial plan was to build a fund.
Right.
But their first space itself was full of such a vibe that they realized co-working in itself is a concept.
Again, to just circle back, this was a problem statement which those co-founders found.
Yeah, I would say it was never a problem statement because Regus existed forever.
Okay.
Regus had shared office spaces, managed office spaces.
Okay.
But it was not meant for a startup founders. It's such an expensive resource pool to go ahead and start a business with. You wanted something, I can start off with my laptop on a bed to start a startup. But what if I can have a community, a little space, not that expensive. I can go around, experiment, talk to people. That was not there in the ecosystem. Of course, that was the problem they were solving. But that community element that got attached to the whole co-working thing, that was a USP. And that created magic, still does. So that is what happened to us also, because we went to that space for our existing company, existing client. And I was blown away by the concept. Okay. So somehow किसी चीज़ को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात, something.
हाँ जी.
So it was meant to happen. I had this thought in mind कि किस तरीके से वहाँ बैठना है.
किसी चीज़ को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात जोर लगा देती है आपको उससे मिलवाने.
Correct. So that happened. Again, we found a mentor in MS Chawla ji. He was our client.
Okay.
He convinced us to sit out of that space because we also wanted to sit out of that space. Then Varun, his son, who's the co-founder of 91, we spoke to him around, we feel there's a white space. You are getting so many startups here. How are they? You've solved their infra problem, but they'll have HR problem, they'll have finance problem, they'll have accounting problem.
Right.
So that was the brainchild that if co-working is growing in India, startup ecosystem is going to grow in India because the policy was not there till then. And if that's the case, we also have a white space because these guys speak a different language. It would be very difficult to make them understand the compliance language. So why not build something that can, since they are solving the infra, we will solve the compliance problem. And it can become one-stop solution for somebody who's coming into a co-working ecosystem because they were also growing pretty fast. So that was the whole idea. And in that period of SSB qualification, one interesting thing I found was failure. And failure with high academical background.
Okay.
Which was like academics is not a guarantee to success. Experience is not.
This was with early stage founders?
This was with early stage founders who coming with exceptional corporate experience, background, network, community, raise funds, millions of dollars, millions of rupees, solid product, but somehow maybe not the right timing. There could be many reasons to it.
But based on your experience, what would be the brief, things or the majority of issues which you feel that were there, where because of which the startups failed or those founders failed at an early stage maybe?
There are many such reasons, right? I mean, they could be technical and non-technical. They could be financial, non-financial.
But some of the reasons which you were sort of recurring, you came across every now and then, okay, yaar, ye bhi isi chakkar
Most of the times, it could be timing of the product or the service or the
Okay.
disruption. Maybe they were very early into the market. There could be absence of a co-founder's agreement. When
Okay.
paisa came into the company, there was dispute. Maybe investor took a lot of control, so founders lost the interest. कि भाई तू ही चला ले, मेरे को नहीं चलानी. Maybe the regulations changed. India was not ready for it. So there are a number of reasons for such things to happen.
Right.
But like I said, the failure rates are much higher, so it could be any of the reason. We've seen successful startups closing down because of co-founder conflicts. But nothing was wrong. Was just the co-founders didn't agree on something. We've seen solid products, IP products going for a toss because investors backstabbed the founder. They copied the product, right? And then that went into a legal dispute. We've seen bad planning where product was solid, funds were there, but they were not frugal. Singapore incorporations, US incorporations, here fund, there fund, but not going into the core of the LLM or products that were supposed to be built to scale. So there could be many such reasons. I mean, it's very subjective.
ये तो रहा आपका पिछले 15-16 साल के एक्सपीरियंस का. थोड़ा सा कहानी रिवाइंड करते हैं. वेयर वी गो टू डे ज़ीरो ऑफ स्टार्टअप मूवर्स. स्टार्टअप मूवर्स की क्या कहानी रही? कहाँ से आइडिएशन आया उसका?
So
नाम कैसे सिलेक्ट किया आपने?
I'll go back a little. Why startup, right? So again, mentors. So I had a family friend who came back from US, working in very big consulting firm. He kind of convinced me when I qualified that why don't you help us? I was just fresh into the ecosystem, and that mindset which he brought into me, that कोई बात नहीं, तू आजा, हम सारे लोग देख लेंगे, खुद मिलके बनाएंगे. So that mindset, his name was Nitin Kaushik, is no more unfortunately, but he was a very solid co-founder. He knew how to keep people together, and when that startup was taking shape, during that cycle, I learned a lot of things. Again, it was a mentor kind of a story. The person is a IIT IIM gold medalist, a retired IS officer. So you don't expect things to go wrong. They never did. Things went good for a very long period of time. But at the end of the story, the line was never crossed, right? So then the reflection was, like I have been repeatedly saying, that if things are not getting in line for such folks, such brilliant folks, and what about those who will just be out of college and doing this? And that's where we started off the idea in 13. Why Startup Movers was supposed to be their brand name. Of course, there has been stories around goof ups on this brand name also.
Okay.
It was the first day when we went live with something online. The first call we had was, भाई साहब सामान शिफ्ट करना है अहमदाबाद जयपुर, आप लोग करा देंगे. तो those were the calls that started coming in initially. And then we realized, यार हाँ सागराज से बोल रहे हो, मछली, मेरी मछली कहाँ गई है, and all of that happened. And then we thought कि यार करना है change, but वो कभी हुआ ही नहीं. मतलब बहुत बार thought आया कि movers नहीं रखना. But then it was like, ठीक है, जो है सो है. So we'll go ahead with it,
and it has been accepted.
It's been accepted. It's now. I hope it's a known name now. So that's the story behind the whole concept. Startup Movers means we'll take you up on the direction of growth. We'll help ensure that your success rates in this startup ecosystems are higher as compared to other ecosystems.
So अभी तक बड़ा सीरियस हो गया है पॉडकास्ट, थोड़ा सा फन एलिमेंट डालते हैं.
थोड़ा एक चाल चल लेते हैं हम, चलो.
बेटे रानी, सीधा रानी.
हाँ.
चलो मैं ये चल रहा हूँ. Why have we named this the FuF Nights? मतलब आपका क्या व्यू है, फिर मैं अपना व्यू दूंगा.
जो मुझे समझ आता है मैं तो वो बता सकता हूँ कि इसका नाम ऐसा क्यों होगा. तो फाउंडर अनफिल्टर्ड से फफ बना होगा.
नहीं वो तो है ही हमारा.
हाँ मतलब और व्हाट द फफ तो होता ही है स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम में. तो व्हाट द फफ हुआ होगा.
राइट.
फिर द फफ हुआ होगा.
हाँ।
फिर हुआ होगा कि कुछ तो डालना पड़ेगा एलिमेंट, तो द फफ नाइट्स हुआ होगा क्योंकि रात में एपिसोड आएगा, तो इसलिए द फफ नाइट्स।
ठीक है, मेरा व्यू इस पे ये है कि फाउंडर तो अनफिल्टर्ड होगा, और उसके बाद हम फाउंडर को बोलेंगे जो तूने बोल दिया सो बोल दिया, रात गई बात गई,
हाँ।
इसलिए नाइट्स यहाँ क्लोज करते हैं।
नाइस नाइस।
ठीक है, अब नेक्स्ट हम सेक्शन में चलते हैं जो हमारा इस पॉडकास्ट का है। इस मे बी पायलट एपिसोड में ही रहेगा, ये आगे आएगा नहीं आएगा देखते हैं। इस सेक्शन का नाम है अवार्ड अंशुमन सेक्शन। अवार्ड अंशुमन पता है आपको?
नहीं।
अवार्ड अंशुमन नहीं पता? अरे अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ।
अच्छा।
ठीक है, रोड रोलर वाला, गज गज गज
डन
गज।
डन डन।
ठीक है, अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, विच हिज एटीट्यूड वाज कि भाई भंगार रोड रोलर है, बट ही इज पुशिंग इट कि अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ। तो कोई ऐसा यूज केस विद नो नेम्स आया हो, उसका थोड़ा आगे पीछा बताओ, जहाँ पे आपने अभी बोला हो कि मैं अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, और वो ठीक हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, या वो फिर हाथ
मैं अपना एग्जांपल नहीं देता, मैं बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जांपल देता हूँ क्योंकि पब्लिक फोरम पे खुद फाउंडर्स भी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं बहुत बारी।
राइट।
तो जो फर्स्ट हब था 91 का कोवर्किंग का, तो इट वाज अबाउट 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट सिंगल फ्लोर प्लेट इन बेसमेंट,
ओके,
विदाउट एसीज।
ठीक है, इसका डबल मान लो।
हाँ, इसका डबल, अबाउट 120 सीट समथिंग।
ओके,
इट डिडंट हैव एसीज, इट वाज लॉन्च्ड इन विंटर्स,
हाँ,
so the ACs were never needed. So initial traction came in. Now there are 100 members. Now there are summers coming in.
हाँ, फिर आपको अपना वो बस याद आ गई लोकल?
हाँ, no. So because we are part of that team that were looking at the daily administrative things also. Manoj was also there. So the concept was to save money. And
Okay.
penny wise, pound foolish,
कि
be frugal, be prudent.
बिजली का बिल बचाना है,
तो एसी नहीं लगाएंगे।
बिजली का बिल बचाना है,
बिजली
और
का
अभी
बिल बचाना है,
कैपेक्स
पैसा नहीं है, क्या करेंगे? तो एसी नहीं लगाएंगे, कूलर लगाएंगे।
कूलर?
हाँ, कूलर लगाए गए।
ओके,
अच्छा, कूलर मई में तो अच्छा काम करेगा,
हाँ,
लेकिन
मॉनसून में टिप टिप बरसा
तो
पानी,
फिर
और
लोगों ने बोला बहुत ज़्यादा वो है
राइट
मॉइस्चर या ह्यूमिडिटी, तो फाउंडर ने बोला अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ। तो फाउंडर ने मंगाया चारकोल। चारकोल जो होता है वो शायद ह्यूमिडिटी को एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है, तो हर थोड़े थोड़े गैप पे चारकोल लगाया गया।
हाँ,
तो उन्होंने कहा इससे सॉल्व नहीं हुआ, उन्होंने कहा अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ।
हाँ,
फिर आया सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट कि कुछ तो करेंगे, पैसा नहीं खर्चना, तो सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट भी काम नहीं करा, तो भी बहुत दिक्कत हुई। फिर अल्टीमेटली मेंबर्स जाने लगे कि यार गर्मी लग रही है यार, जाना तो पड़ेगा। तो फिर अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ का एक और अच्छा रीज़न है कि भाई एसी EMI पे ले लो, कि अगर वन शॉट उस पर नहीं दिया क्योंकि अर्ली स्टेज है, नहीं है पैसा भाई, तो एसी EMI पे ले लो। तो फिर ये डिसाइड हुआ कि भाई किसी फाउंडर का क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज़ करेंगे, उसकी EMI पे एसी आएगा, फिर वो एसी लगे, फिर वो मेंबर रिटेन हुए, वो सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट, चारकोल, पानी, कूलर, वो सब अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ हो गया बस। तो ये दिस इज़ वन एग्जाम्पल विच वॉज अबाउट वॉट इज़ फ्रूगल एंड वॉट इज़ नॉट फ्रूगल। आई मीन you have to do things which are required to be done. You cannot go one step further कि मेरे पास I can solve it. I can solve it differently because there is a solution on the table which has to be done. So as long as you are working around that solution and if you're not reaching to that solution, you're going to lose the business. So अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ मैं भी वही था कि भाई नहीं ठीक हो सकता यार, कितना खींच लेगा, और चल भी जाएगा तो कितना दूर तक चलेगा. So at times you need permanent solutions. जुगाड़ doesn't work for long. In our case also, I think there have been some use cases around. I mean, if something is wrong, you have to go back and say it's wrong. I mean, not a material example. For an example, there could have been a case where, say, some filings have been done, or some error is there in filing, right?
Right.
There is a straightforward way of going and saying, representing to the officer, solving for it. Another is अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, पेपर चेंज कर दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, राइट, नेक्स्ट वाली फाइलिंग में ठीक करके देख लेंगे, अभी रुक जाते हैं, कुछ रिटर्न आने देते हैं. दोज कुड बी द एग्जाम्पल्स, राइट. इफ यू आर इन अ गुड कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस, यू नो व्हाट इज टू बी डन. इफ यू आर कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग विद गवर्नेंस, देन यू विल अप्लाई जुगाड्स.
अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ मैं, कोई ऐसी भी कहानी थी, एक फाउंडर आपके पास आए बिल्कुल ऐसी हालत में कि उनका अकाउंटिंग पूरी हिली हुई है, और फिर आपने अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ.
One of the biggest clients that we have today. I'll not name because we've not spoken to them.
हम बोल ही नहीं रहे, नाम तो ले
रहे. So the college student came with his angel investor, right? So yes, there was a. So we now say that if you have a chaos, we'll love chaos. So I think for the first 1.5 to 2 years, the accounting team at Startup Movers was like,
अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ.
बैक एंड में कोई डेटा नहीं है, कोई टैली नहीं है, कोई वाउचर नहीं है, कोई सोर्स ऑफ ट्रूथ नहीं है.
ठीक है.
बट उसके बाद भी आप लगे हुए होगे, अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, क्योंकि आपको कुछ तो शेप देना है, राइट. You have to find the best true and fair you that you can create with whatever information is available. The other founder is just, I mean, of course they might have an experience, but they might not understand the financial ecosystem that well, right? So you cannot go back and tell the founder तुझे नहीं आता, right? Or you cannot go and speak a language जो उसे समझ नहीं आए कि boss you don't have a tally data, you have to create a debit and credit double entry system, you should have this क्या बोल रहे हो यार, right?
तो it is more like कि client आया तो client को आपने बोला अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, and behind the scene it's like अभी मजा आएगा बिड़ू, वैसा मोड हो जाता है.
I mean नहीं वो अभी ठीक कर,
फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हो कि यार ये ऐसा क्यों आ गया काम.
You want to stand with the founder saying अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ, but at what cost? Because that jugaad will not have a long term value, right? You might still solve it for the founder, he might still give you a respect, but that's what we stress, at least I stress with all service providers that I speak to. Do which is value addition for the founder, just don't create a jugaad which is doing nothing but just covering up the mess. So solve it in a way where if it is a long term game, it doesn't create a bottleneck in future. तो अभी ठीक करके देता हूँ ताकि कल कोई दिक्कत ना हो.
Right. You have been in various partnerships, professionally और life में भी, मतलब you are married, और which sort of has been memorable. मतलब मेरे को याद है आप और मैं एक क्रिकेट मैच खेल रहे थे जिसमें हमारी भी पार्टनरशिप वो लॉर्ड्स वाले मैच की तरह ही चल रही थी, जहाँ पे आपने वो सिराज वाला डिफेंस करके आउट हो गए थे.
हाँ, I remember.
मैं ऐसे सर पकड़ के
I was the last person playing. We had few overs left. Yeah, I can recall. Yes.
बिल्कुल वो मोमेंट था लॉर्ड्स टेस्ट मैच वाला. सिराज खेल रहा है, इतनी देर तक चला लिया थोड़ी देर और चला,
जब तक चले चांद तक, नहीं तो
फनी पार्ट इज हम T20 मैच में भी ड्रॉ के लिए
खेल रहे थे. करेक्ट.
या ओह सॉरी टू कम बैक, साइकिलिंग की आपकी बहुत लंबी हिस्ट्री रही है. आई थिंक आप मूर्थल तक भी साइकिल चला के गए हुए एक बार.
मतलब I had a short burst of I used to go to my school on a cycle. I have always been fond of cycling.
Nice.
Every day, cycle was an everyday part of life. But then you leave.
You inspired many to pick up cycle.
I think in my circle, you still have my cycle, right?
I was one of them.
Right, but we also have Anshuman, who's also a CA, who's taking cycles to Ladakh every season.
Manali वगैरह.
Right. So my longest is about 150 kilometers.
Which was Delhi to
Moorthal, and then somewhere else, and then coming back. I always wanted to do breves like 200, 400, 600, 1000, and then finish that in one full cycle. You qualify for the Paris Brevis event also. But that never happened, never got the time to do it because of course it takes recovery, you need to have that kind of a lifestyle also, but things have taken priority. I still do have 2 cycles. I occasionally do go for 10-20, but I think now anything less than 50 doesn't make feel नहीं आती क्योंकि your body actually get after 20-25 your body says चलो अब तो let's go long, right? So yeah, I love going cycling. Not
so you like, it's like a hobby, you're passionate about it, like in a way.
No, I don't call it a passion because I'm not pursuing. So passion is something that you continuously pursue because it won't let you go, right? It's an hobby which I have cherished for long. But again, that's not a part of current lifestyle.
Nowadays,
it's badminton.
Yeah. Nice. But how do you see the relevance of picking up such a sport in life? How does it affect you on a day-to-day professional basis? Like how it helps you in work? Do you see from that perspective?
Oh, absolutely. I think the bigger your community, the better it is. And communities are forums where you don't go to take. You go to give, right? So when you're going in a community with an intent to give whatever experience you have, it circles back and comes back to you. You don't have to ask for it. So I think all these communities
so my question was not from that perspective, but just like from an individual perspective. Like, so there is this something like which you say that कि 50 किलोमीटर से नीचे तो मजा ही नहीं आता. So does that sort of a mindset help
absolutely,
you?
Absolutely.
That was my
your benchmarks go higher. Even professionally, right? Your bhook or hunger grows, right? Enough might not be enough. And it's not monetary, but it's what you want to achieve, right? So you always aim for higher goals. And such activities, I think, create a lot of impact on your other benchmarkings as well. Of course, 100%.
You would like to recommend viewers to pick up a sport,
pick up anything you want, but stick to it. I mean, mental health is very critical, right? I mean, with everything else, you know what's going on with your body, your mind. You can diagnose. But I've come across so many cases, including myself, where you don't know what's happening to you. and by the time you get to know what has happened, the damage, it can cause a lot of damage. Sometimes people go and you don't even realize, oh, itna kuch problem thi, main to pata hi nahi chala. So these hobbies and these sports, whatever activity is very, very critical. It helps you balance your thought process, makes you consciously awake.
Any advice you want to give out to early stage founders, like being experienced enough?
I think don't go for valuation, go for value creation. Don't go for a unicorn status. Even if you're a cockroach, there's a concept called cockroach startups.
I've heard a lot of about the word cockroach.
What is the
for our viewers?
What is cockroach is most important USP, right? Whereas it's always said nuclear bomb bhi bhod do cockroach ki race continue rahegi because it has resilience to continue, right? So wo end mein sirf Trivedi bachega. So startups are also like the same thing, right? You have to go through a lot of resilience, a lot of ups and downs. You have to be self-sustainable, right? And stay there on the longer course if you're solving a problem, set of problems. So I think most of the portfolios I've worked with, I'm proud to say, and I'm lucky enough to work with many cockroaches. I have not seen them go down. There are not a lot of start, create, fail, start, create, fail. There are a lot of start, create, sustain. Might not go to a unicorns, all of them might not go to IPO unicorn.
But the growth is there at a gradual
They are a business. They are revenue generating business. They do have a Startup India registration. They started off as a startup. Some of them are bootstrapped, some of them just straight strategic investment. But it's good to see. All those, if you're building for Bharat, you're building for Tier 2, unicorn is not your end goal. Value creation is your end goal.
So, on the closing note, what more can our viewers expect out of this, the FuF Nights series?
I think founder's life is like a game of chess, right? There are countless moves available, but you need to see, you should be far-sighted enough to know whether you'll cross the last mile or not. So, checkmate, and that's what startup ecosystem is about.